Welcome to RJ Academy. Today, we're diving straight into Class 10 Geography, specifically the chapter on resources and development. We're taking a super structured, rapid revision approach today, so get ready. We're going to break down exactly what resources are, why we actually need them, the challenges we're facing, and most importantly, how to conserve them. Let's turn all that heavy textbook density into clear, easy-to-remember takeaways.
Here's our syllabus roadmap for the day. We'll be covering 6 quick areas. 1. The basics of resources. 2. Development and Agenda 21. 3. Planning and conservation. 4. Land degradation and its solutions. 5. Soil types and conservation. And finally, number 6, a quick soil quiz. Okay, let's get right to it.
Section 1. Basics of resources.
So, what exactly is a resource? Well, it turns out it's not just any random thing you pick up off the ground. The absolutely crucial point here is that a resource has to perfectly balance technology, the economy, and culture to be truly useful. Think of it like a strict 3-part checklist. You might have something right in your environment that can satisfy a human need, but look, if you don't have the technology to extract it, or if it costs way too much money, or even if society just totally rejects using it, then it simply cannot be classified as a resource.
Now, there are 4 main ways we classify all resources for your exams, kind of breaking them down into these neat bullet points. First, we can look at their origin. Are they living, biotic things, or non-living, abiotic things? Second, we can look at exhaustibility, meaning are they renewable or non-renewable? Third, we can look at ownership, scaling all the way from individual property up to international waters. And finally, we evaluate their status of development, ranging from just raw potential all the way up to fully developed reserves.
Section 2. Development in Agenda 21. This is where things start getting a bit complicated in the real world.
So here is a brilliant question that you'll definitely see on your exam. Why do we even need to plan and develop resources in the first place? Like, why can't we just use whatever we find lying around? Well, human nature and history give us a few pretty pressing reasons.
As you can clearly see here, greedy depletion and ecological crises are dangerously dividing our world. When just a few individuals indiscriminately exploit resources for their own greed, society literally splits into the haves and the have-nots, the rich and the poor. And honestly, it gets worse. This reckless usage triggers severe global ecological crises. We're talking global warming, massive pollution. We simply cannot survive on that path, right?
To solve those massive problems, we turn to sustainable development. This is essentially an approach that ensures we don't steal resources from our own future generations. It is the ultimate balancing act. We still get to grow our economy and satisfy our needs today? Absolutely. But we leave the planet in good enough shape so our kids and our grandkids have the exact same opportunities we did.
Now, what is really fascinating about the Rio Earth Summit is how over 100 global leaders got together and created Agenda 21 to fight poverty and disease on a local level. They finally realized that global ecological crises needed a totally unified response. But here's the real genius of Agenda 21, its execution. It empowers local governments to draw up their own specific action plans to combat environmental degradation right in their own backyards.
Section 3. Planning and conservation. Let's look at how this global idea translates directly into India's specific conservation strategy. Pay close attention to this checklist because these are the exact 3 steps India uses to survey, extract, and align resources with our national goals. You have to remember, resources in India are super unevenly distributed. For example, Arunachal Pradesh has abundant water but lacks energy infrastructure, while other states have the exact opposite. So step 1, we identify and inventory what's actually out there across the regions. Step 2, we build the right technological and institutional structures to access them safely. And step 3, we make absolutely sure these local resource development plans perfectly match up with our overall national development plans.
This famous quote by Mahatma Gandhi perfectly captures his philosophy regarding resource conservation. He said, "There is enough for everybody's need and not for anybody's greed." He strongly believed that we must replace mass production with production by the masses. Historically, colonizers used their advanced technology to exploit the resources of the nations they conquered, and Gandhi saw this destructive pattern very early on. He knew that if individuals just produced according to their true needs, instead of chasing endless greed, we could conserve our world entirely.
Moving on to Section 4, Land Degradation and Solutions. Land is a finite resource, but our needs for it seem to be infinite. Look at how perfectly this comparison chart lines up the problems with their exact answers. Notice the direct one-to-one relationship here. If deforestation, cutting down trees, is the cause, then planting new ones, or afforestation, is the direct solution. If over-irrigation is drowning and ruining the land, we enforce controlled irrigation. Mining? Regulate it. Faulty agriculture? Correct those practices. It is a highly logical problem-solving strategy that'll be super easy to recall for your exams.
Section 5. Soil Types and Conservation. It is time to categorize and really memorize Indian soils based on their unique traits. Definitely take a screenshot of this summary table because understanding the unique content, the suitable crops, and the X factors of these major Indian soils is an absolute must. Instead of reading endless paragraphs, just look for the patterns here. Alluvial soil is your high fertility champion, and it's split into New Khadar and Old Bongar. Black soil, that's your moisture-holding cotton grower. Red and yellow soils literally change color based on their hydration and develop on crystalline igneous rocks. Laterite lacks humus because it gets intensely leached by heavy rain, and arid soil is, well, just sandy, saline, and thirsty.
Now, to prevent all that precious topsoil from washing or blowing away in places like the Chambal Badlands, we rely heavily on common structural methods like strip cropping and shelter belts. Wind and water are basically the arch enemies of topsoil, so we fight back using geometry and nature. We plow along contour lines to slow water down, we cut giant steps into steep mountains with terrace farming, we plant strips of grass between crops to break the wind, and we plant massive rows of trees to act as shelter belts, letting those deep roots hold the earth firmly in place.
All right, Section 6, Quick Soil Quiz. Let's see if those soil traits actually locked into your memory.
Take a second to recall that summary chart we just looked at. Based entirely on their unique characteristics, can you answer this? Number 1, which soil is famous for its massive capacity to hold moisture? And number 2, which soil significantly lacks humus due to intense leaching from heavy rain?
Okay, let's see how you did. If you guessed black soil for holding moisture and laterite soil for lacking humus, then your preparation is completely on track. Black soil grabs onto water like a giant sponge, making it absolutely ideal for cotton, while laterite gets thoroughly washed out by rain, losing all that rich organic humus.
And that wraps up our explainer. The notes of this chapter is in the description down below, so definitely go check those out. Keep revising, and remember, together we can, we will. But before you go, I want to leave you with one final thought. If our survival depends entirely on balancing technology, the economy, and society, what specific resource do you think will define the biggest global conflicts of the next 100 years? Think about it, keep learning, and go.